Good morning, George McGovern. So we've been working really hard on our lunchroom procedures. Today is the last video you're going to get from me. I know you guys are all sad, but you can go on Netflix, find something else to binge and check out. I'll see if I can come up with some other videos for you in the future. But I want to put all of our procedures and expectations together to make sure you guys are all aware of how the lunchroom will work. So here's how it works. The bell rings. Once the bell rings, we would expect you to leave your classroom, come straight to the commons, and that you would be in your seat sitting down by the time the first bell or the second bell rings. So we want you to come straight into the commons and be sitting down. We don't want you to roam around, find that person to hug, any of that. Come in, sit down. Once you're seated, at some point, the supervisor in the lunchroom is going to ask for the refocus signal. They're going to put their hand up. At that point, we would ask you very quickly, maybe within like 3 seconds, to become silent. Put your eyes on the speaker and raise your hand. Again, the reason we raise your hand, we're not trying to treat you like little kids, but in a big room like this, when you raise your hand, it gives everybody a visual, in case they didn't hear, that it's time for the refocus signal. So you'd give the attention to your supervisor, you'd be silent. The sooner you do that, the sooner we can turn you loose to talk to each other and things like that. Once you're silent, your supervisor is going to do a couple things. They're going to make any announcements that need to be made. They're going to read off lists of students who need to go to certain rooms. So if there's work completion or recovery or lunch detention, they'll name off the list of the students who need to go to those. And they will also ask for the students who have passes at that time to come up. If you're any of those students, you're going to go over to the servery over there. You're going to go through the first line and you're going to ask for a styrofoam tray. You're going to get your styrofoam tray, you're going to go through the line, and then you're going to go straight to the location that you've been requested to go, and you will be there until the end of the lunch period. At the end of the lunch period, because you have a styrofoam tray, you'll be able to throw your stuff away in that location. Once we get that cleared out, what's going to happen is the supervisor is going to start dismissing tables by zones. And we have 4 zones inside the commons. Your lunch supervisors will get you all squared away on where the zones are. We'll have a specific zone that starts going each day. And the people that go first through the lunch line are those with their ID. So your supervisor will ask you to show your ID, and then they'll dismiss you probably table by table or a few tables at a time. And the students who have their IDs are going to go first. So those students will get up, they can go through the line, and they can go through any line they want, pick any food they want, come straight back to your table, and then be seated and remain there until it's time to put trays away. After those with IDs are done, they'll go back through the section and they'll ask those of you that don't have an ID to go ahead and get up and go through the line to get your lunch. So pretty simple, right? All comes together pretty nicely. Here's a few other things that we need you to know. One of the things is our expectation is that you remain seated at your table unless you have been given permission to get up for a specific reason. I still have a few of you that just get up and you walk, and then when I ask you about, may I ask why you're up, you're like, oh, I'm just throwing this away, or I'm just getting a drink, or I'm just going to the vending machine. Those things in and of themselves, totally fine. However, you don't decide to get up and go do those. If you need to do those, you raise your hand. Once somebody comes over to you and gives you permission, then you get up and go throw your things away or get a drink or whatever it is that they give you permission. The other thing that I want to make sure you're very much aware of is if you need to use the restroom, you raise your hand, you ask permission, and you have to have one of the 2 passes we have to go to the restroom. We have 1 pass for the girls' restroom. We have 1 pass for the boys' restroom. Only 1 person in those restrooms at a time. So you got to raise your hand. You got to get permission, and they'll have you go into the restrooms and do what you need to do with that 1 pass. So pretty simple for the day. The last thing you need to know about is dismissal. At about 5 minutes to when your lunch period is done, they're going to start moving the trash receptacles to your tables. They will park it in between 2 tables. Whoever is moving that receptacle will tell just those 2 tables, please get up and empty your trays. Just those 2 tables get up, they empty their trays. You go right back to your table and you remain seated. At that point, you decide the one person who's going to take the trays over to the window and place them there so they can be clean. And you're going to determine the one person who's going to go get a rag and a broom so we can clean up your area. Make sure and look all around your area. I want you to clean up your mess, but But I also want you to just clean up any mess you see so we can honor this place, keep it looking good when everybody comes in to eat lunch, and it also helps our custodians out who do a lot of work for us. Once the cleanup is done and you guys are sitting at your tables again, reminded during this time of cleanup, we don't get up and wander at that time either. You remain seated. The supervisor is again going to ask for the refocus signal. At that time, you become silent. What will happen is we will dismiss you by individual tables. We will come over, we'll look at the top of the table and make sure it's clean. We'll look under the table, make sure it's clean. We'll also look around the table in the aisles and make sure it's clean. Here's how you'll get dismissed. Your table is silent, your table is clean, and the floor under and around your table is clean. Once we see that, we'll dismiss you to go to your next class. And at that point, we'd ask you to get up in a conversational tone, go directly to your next class, and be ready to learn. So, pretty simple. We've been working on little steps of it all the way along here. That's putting it all together. Just want to make sure we're all clear on what this looks like. I think it looks really good in the lunchroom right now. It's fun to see you guys talking. It's fun to see you guys having fun. And it's way better than the running around, yelling, screaming, and honestly, most of the time, just making comments and doing things that really aren't productive to each other. It's way more fun to watch you guys enjoy each other's company, visit with each other, and have a good time in the Commons. So thank you for all the hard work you're doing. There's a few of you out there still struggling, but that's okay. We love you. On this Love Day, what we will do is we will continue to work with you through time in lunch detention, maybe some time after school where we're teaching and helping you out. We care about you, so we'll stick with you. We trust that you're going to get it just like the other 98% have gotten it. So thank you for everything. Remember these procedures during lunch, and we're going to have a great time in here.